Hello everyone, Simon here, and look, Life is Strange. We're gonna play it, yes. And so at the time of the recording of this video, the final episode of Life is Strange has just came out, unless they plan to put out more of them, but the fifth episode is out. And so what I've done is I have not played the game until all the episodes come out, so that I'm gonna play all of them pretty much sequence very quickly. So because the way I want to play games is I just want to play from start to finish in a really kind of focused setting. Like I don't want to spread it out over several months. And so yeah, so I'm gonna play it now, much later than when it first came out. I do have some high hopes for this game because a lot of people have said that the story is really interesting. Although I'm a little bit concerned because a lot of the reviews seem to talk about how, wow, amazing, the story is amazing, wow, I can't believe that happened. And when people say stuff like that, I get worried because I don't want it to turn into some sort of soap opera where the story does ridiculous things just for the sake of having ridiculous things to have a cliffhanger between episodes, right? So I don't want that to happen. Whereas I don't see a lot of people say, oh wow, that story really opened my eyes to things I've never noticed before, and they don't say, wow, I've become a better person after playing through the story. Like, I don't see people talk about the story actually affecting their lives in any way. I just see people saying, wow, I can't believe that happened. So that's a little bit worrying, but you know, I won't prejudge the game until we finish it, right? So we're gonna play through this, and if you are new to my videos, or if you don't know what to expect, I will be playing this very slowly, and I will likely look at things very closely. So, and I'll also analyze things, and I might even kind of have complaints and criticisms. So that's the kind of game I am. I want to kind of analyze things closely. So if you want to just look for a quick playthrough, then this is probably not the one for you. But if you want someone who tries to look for every detail and go through the story in a very considered manner, then maybe this is the playthrough you're looking for. Anyway, enough talking at the menu screen. Let's go straight into it. I have seen like the first 2 minutes or so because I was setting the resolution and the audio levels and all those things like that. And then after that, it's gonna be a complete blind playthrough. Ah, flashing lights. So yes, I've seen like this before. You probably don't want to do that. Yeah, it's kind of gross to have your face in the mud when it's raining. But like she gets up and there's no dirt on her face.
What's happening?
Well, it's fiction, alright. You get up from the mud.
In a storm? How did I get here?
And you're clean.
Where is here?
I don't know, lady. If you don't know, how do I know?
Wait, there's the lighthouse. I'll be safe if I can make it there. I hope. Please let me make it there.
I don't know if she knows that or if she's guessing. Like, how do you know that you'll be safe in the lighthouse? You know, let's look around. So this is kind of cool, right? It looks pretty good. Also, I don't know why there's we can't go back this way. It's a storm. So the art style, I was thinking about this. The art style is kind of interesting. It's not photorealistic. I mean, there's a lot of detail, but there's also there's like a minimum level of detail that they don't go beneath. Right. So there's like a slightly cartoonish, which is good, I guess. I mean, these days, the technology allows photorealism, but it's not necessarily worthwhile. Maybe it's too loud. Hold on. Let me just, oh, why did that happen? Okay. That's the correct audio level. Let me just double check this then. Okay, that's still fine. Alright. So starting a new game resets your audio level, in case you're wondering. This is kind of cool too. Like you see the silhouetting of the trees against the sky. There's also a massive tornado.
Come on, Max. You can make it.
What do these signs say? What does that say? Use caution on trail. Dangerous drop-offs. Okay. Although, you know, we don't actually have to be cautious because the game doesn't allow you to drop off the mountain. Looks pretty good. Actually, did they reset the mouse settings? Mouse? Yeah, they did. The mouse is, for some reason, really sensitive. Okay, that's better. Don't want to shake the camera around too much. So that's kind of cool. I think that's the ocean. So there's like a town, there's a lighthouse by the ocean, there's a giant storm over there, like a tornado. I'm just gonna assume that will be fine because it's a video game. If it's real life, I'd be pretty panicking, but it's not real life. What is that thing? Is that
This feels like the end of the world.
I can't tell what this is. Broken thing here. There's a little building there. I don't know what that building is, but we can't get back there. A campfire out in the open is kind of strange that it's out in the open like this. Trust no one. So that's the town there, and there's a map too, it's kind of cool. What does that say? Blackwell Academy 1910. The town is Arcadia Bay. Although I was looking at this before, like it doesn't quite match the map. So if you look at the map here, look at this. There's a harbor there, right? Right there, the harbor. And I think that's that harbor there. I think that's what it is. But then if you look over here, there's like a...
storm like this in Oregon.
Okay, we're in Oregon. If you look at that there, there's a water tower. But if you look out here, I don't see a water tower. I don't know if you guys can see a water tower or not. Oh, is that it? Okay, I can see it. It's right there. It's kind of the same shade of grey as the stuff behind it, so you can barely see it. If you look, let me just... So if you look right above my head... Okay, my head's moving a lot. Right above my head right now, that's the water tower there, above my head. Alright, so I see. So there's a water tower there. And so then there's like a little... Is that like the town hall at the top of the hill? And then there's like some sort of house. What is 14? It looks like a giant statue or an abominable snowman. Anyway, we can't see very much from here. But that is a map of the town. Maybe we should try to memorize that as well. We're supposed to get to the lighthouse, but we can't actually get into the lighthouse. Actually, what is that? It's a piece of corrugated iron there. Why is she walking to the cliff?
Holy shit.
Yeah. She takes several steps closer to the cliff. And we're dead.
Whoa.
No, we're not.
That was so surreal.
Famously called film Little Pieces of Time. But he could be talking about photography, as he likely was.
Okay, I'm in class. Everything's cool. I am okay.
From light to shadow. From color to chiaroscuro. Now, can you give me an example of a photographer who perfectly captured the human condition in
I
black and
didn't
white?
fall asleep, and that sure didn't feel like a dream.
Bueller?
Weird.
Diane Arbus.
From
There
light
you go,
to
Victoria.
shadow?
Why Arbus?
Light to shadow is
Because of her images of
chiaroscuro.
hopeless faces, you feel like totally haunted by the eyes of those sad mothers and children.
She saw humanity as tortured, right? And frankly, it's bullshit. Shh, 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 shh. Keep that to yourself. Seriously, though, I could frame any one of you in a dark corner. and capture you in a moment of desperation. And any one of you could do that to me. Isn't that too easy? Too obvious?
No, because
What if
I'm
Arbus chose to
pretty
capture people at the
unprivileged.
height of their beauty or innocence? She had a brilliant eye, so she could have taken another approach.
How is that any less
I have to admit,
easy?
I'm not a big fan of her work. I prefer Robert Frank.
She's name dropping.
Me too, Victoria. He captured the essence of post-war beat America, and there was honesty about the economic conditions of the era, but a beauty in the struggle. You don't have beauty without a beat, which explains why Frank was Kerouac's photographic muse, and both were the great chroniclers of the 1950s. Well, we've all seen that iconic shot of Kerouac on the balcony, and if you haven't, shame, shame.
Why don't you show
Capturing
us?
the romantic urban solitude of the 20th century poet. You dig?
Why don't you
Now,
show us?
contrast Frank's stark Americana with Salvador Dali's surrealist photographs. Like Cocteau, he was a true Renaissance man, and his famous self-portraits are famous early examples of that truly awful word you pesky kids love so much, the selfie. And it's a great tradition, and I wholeheartedly fight for your right to self-expression, or selfie expression.
Oh yes, you hate the word so much you made a
Sorry.
pun about it.
I know.
Oh, funny.
So if anybody wants to question the portrait as modern narcissism, they could go back hundreds of years to blame society. Speaking of questions, I bet you thought I'd talk all the way until the bell rang. It's your turn to lecture us. Now, based on the chapters I have no doubt you all memorized, who can tell me the name of the actual process that led to the birth of the self-portrait?
Hey, why don't you tell us about the economics of photography, about how the selfie only
Anybody?
exists because cell phones
This
exist,
does not bode well.
and we no longer use film, and film is expensive, back when they had to paint portraits. How can you possibly have a self-portrait for everybody if paint costs so much and it takes so long to paint something? Whereas
Just
now,
jump right in with an answer.
everybody has a cell phone, and therefore you can just snap photos of ridiculous things. And people do so because the economics of photography allows for it. Why don't I teach you about photography, bro?
This was in the chapters you read.
Anyway, so we are in photography class. And photography class doesn't show us any photos. Funny, right? It just talks and talks and talks, and we never see any photos in photography class. What kind of teacher are you?
You did read the chapters, right?
The game wants us to look at that. I'm not going to look at that for now. The correct use of colors is to paint a face on a cup, which is interesting. Focus, hues,
Your
Okay.
silence is deafening.
exposure, highlight. Alright, that's pretty good basic photography concepts. Do we still use film in this class? Or do we just use digital cameras?
If this were a photo, I'd call it a still life.
You can call it whatever you like. I'm gonna look around. So I got some pretty girls over there. We got a couple of students who aren't even paying attention to the teacher over there. What are they doing? Are they just doing their own homework? Are they reading
Anybody?
comics? There's
This does not bode well.
a couple of thicker kids behind the teacher. Again, I don't know if are they paying attention? And there's a girl there.
Just jump right in with an answer.
Look at the light though. Look at the light streaming in on one side. Makes you want to sleep, doesn't it? Sleep in the sun. Okay, let's go do what the game wants us to do and look at the photo. Oh, interesting. Look, when you
This was in the chapters you read.
tilt the camera up, it kind of bends over and zooms in on the table. Wow, that's pretty smooth. So when you're just looking around, you're rotating around her left shoulder,
You did read the chapters, right?
although when you go behind her, it goes to her right shoulder. Interesting. This camera movement is really complicated. I feel like it's a little bit unnecessarily complicated, but at the same time, it's quite
Your silence is deafening.
it's very smooth. The camera rotates around certain points. Okay, so when you look down, you go kind of,
If this were a photo,
you push
I'd
her
call it a still life.
into the bottom of the screen. You always keep her at the bottom left. This camera movement is really complicated. Okay, let's look at the photo. Hold.
Anybody?
Look. Okay.
Look at this crap. How can I show this to Mr. Jefferson? I can hear the class laughing at me now.
The point is not to always make brilliant things. The point is to do a lot of things and learn from them. I mean, crap or brilliant is not the point here. Like, if this is class and if you're learning, the point is to just do stuff and learn from it. It's not to. I mean, if you take a good photo, that's good. But you're not. It's class. It's learning. It doesn't matter. Just show it to people. See what they say. It's not about. It's not about how good the work is. It's about what you learn from it. Anyway, is this crap? It's interesting. So she's taking a photo of herself from behind, and more photos in front of her. Interesting. I'm not sure I would have put herself right in the middle though. And also, like, she doesn't photograph her own face. For some reason, I think our main character has less self-esteem than she should. Alright, and then how do we back? Okay, back.
This does not bode well.
And then we can read our journal, look at our pencil case, look at the camera, take selfie. We can take selfie right now, in the middle of class. Alright, let's read our journal right now.
Just
I haven't
jump
kept
right
up
in
with
an
my
answer.
journal as much as I should.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Read?
If anybody else looked at this, what would they think?
Who cares? Who cares what other people think? What do you think? Okay, so the controls are designed for a controller, and not for the mouse and camera, not for the mouse and keyboard. But we can deal with that. October 1st, October, my favorite month. The best weather of the year. I love watching the leaves change color, turning into tiny flames. But it's still too damn hot, thanks global warming. And I can't bust out the big coats and sweaters or scary movies yet. Soon. Kate let me borrow The October Country by Ray Bradbury. I haven't read much by him, which caused Warren to almost revoke my geek cred before I held up my copy of Battle Royale. But he nails the autumn atmosphere of small towns. The last time I wore a Halloween costume was with Chloe. I have pictures of one in my old albums. She's just rambling. This is literally rambling from one thing to another. I should find a real Halloween party to crash so I can experience some social mingling. It's that or a Vortex Club Stroke Fest swimming party. Or is that Backstroke Fest? You're so punny, Max. At least I'm trying to climb out of my cocoon. I shouldn't expect my life to completely change after a few weeks of Blackwell Academy, as my parents love telling me in a loop, you have all the time in the world. This is rambling and self-contradictory. Oh, that's page 8. I should go back to the previous. So, she's trying to climb out of a cocoon. What cocoon? You have multiple friends. What does that say? Warren, Chloe, and then you're thinking about going to a party and you call this, you have multiple friends that share your interests and you plan to go to a party and you call that trying to climb out of your cocoon. What? Okay, let's go start from the start. Start from the beginning. Apparently loops. July 10, I just got accepted into Blackwell Academy. In caps. If words could dance, this would be a rave. If words could dance, this would be a rave, but then it's all straight and not ravey. Wouldn't it be like, I got accepted into a Blackwell? Wouldn't that be more like less straight if it's a rave? Even though I've never been to one. But who cares because I got into Blackwell Academy? I didn't think I would be so excited. since it's not like I didn't used to live in the same town. But when I saw the text from the Blackwell Scholarship office, I could literally feel my pulse speed up. Hold on, you live in the same town. Is there like more than one school in the town? how how many people live in this town? There must be at least several thousand people in the town, right? If there's more than one school. I thought it was going to say sorry, thanks for playing. It took me a few seconds before I read the whole thing. I guess I wanted to enjoy that last moment of blissful ignorance. And when I saw the word congratulations, I think I screamed. My mum cried and my dad laughed. They're so weird, but they're happy, and this means extra financial support because they don't have to pay anything to Blackwell. This means new clothes, and if I can work it, a new laptop. Oh, and I have to keep telling myself in caps that I'm going to Blackwell Academy. Why are you so happy about this place? Also, Oregon, 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 Oregon. Gold star. Is that at a math test, I believe? And art. So she gets gold star for math. And she's an art student. Mary Sue, I love Seattle. Oh dear, funny. August 18, 2013. So this is it. I'm leaving Seattle to go back to Arcadia Bay. Oh, she was. Oh, she used to live in the same town. Okay, so she's in Seattle, and then she's going back to the small town. I see. To go to high school. Usually people go to the high school closest to home. I suppose I am too. It's just I haven't lived there for 5 years. Wait a minute. She went from Arcadia Bay to Seattle to go to high school? Out of all the best photography programs in the world, I chose to go to the smallest back in a town I was excited about leaving. Yeah, what? Maybe I wanted to come back all along just to see if Chloe and I are still even friends. Well, just say hi to her and then be friends again. But I do wish Chloe could have moved with us to Seattle. Okay, so the family moved to Seattle. And then she's coming back to where she was raised and like born and raised. Okay, this is kind of weird. That city was made for her. When we would play pirates in our rooms and in the woods, it seemed like Seattle was that fabled faraway island of treasure and adventure that we were always seeking with coffee shops. Seattle is not that amazing. I mean, it's a nice city, but it's not treasure and adventure. But Seattle wasn't like a fable, yeah, no. Au contraire, now Blackwell Academy seems more exotic to me than any other place in the world. To study photography under Mark Jefferson, sigh. Insert hearts and flowers. You don't, what? You're studying photography for the teacher, not for the art? Are you kidding me? Plus there will be cool diverse students from everywhere. I don't know, I see a lot of white people so far. It won't be like my high school now. I never really found a groove with my classmates or boys. I'm lucky I have a couple great friends here, but it's time to ship out. This is the strangest thing, like she has friends, and then she keeps saying how she doesn't fit in and she's kind of break out of a cocoon, but like she has friends, and I don't understand, like. So maybe Arcadia Bay will actually turn out to be the island of treasure and adventure I've been looking for. No, there's no treasure and adventure. It's just people, just normal people, mostly white people, because you're white. August 25. Shit is crazy here. I didn't realize how much crap I had to pack until I had to pack all my crap. Oh, you're one of those people. Mom and Dad are getting a little too excited. I'm clearing out my room. Though I caught Mom crying when she was packing my shirts. That made me want to cry like a little girl. Then do it. It's a cat with glasses. Amazing, it's a hipster cat. And never leave Seattle. So instead of packing, I feel like burning all my clothes. Why would you do that? Then just raiding a thrift store to build up a new max wardrobe over my junior year. Oh my god, she's a hipster. Look. Okay. Not that I even have an old max wardrobe. Okay. I'm not to be like this old man who's chastising a little girl. If you have decent clothes and you burn them, and then you go to a thrift store to buy their clothes, what you're basically doing is you're making it so that an actual poor person who can't afford clothes can't buy the clothes anymore because you've just bought them off the thrift store and burned all your old stuff. Like you're wasting perfectly decent clothes and then snatching up cheap clothing that's supposed to be for poor people, but you're obviously not poor because you can afford to burn your clothes. So you're like this privileged, white, wealthy girl who just made life more difficult for poor people who actually need cheap clothing from the thrift store. Do you see what I mean? Look, look, if you really want to do that, instead of burning your clothes, why don't you give your clothes to the thrift store and then buy other stuff from the thrift store? At least then you're not doing any damage. At least then like you're balancing out the fact that you're taking the cheap clothes, but you're also giving your clothes to other people. Then your karma is actually in balance. Like you're not doing any good, but at least you're not doing any damage. Privilege, man. Alright, nobody will know me except for Chloe, and who knows how different we are now. So I can cut my hair, get a tat, and some piercings. Why would you get a tat and piercings? Maybe date a cute foreign exchange artsy from Paris or Rome. What makes you think there'll be someone from Paris or Rome in that place? Why would they go to a small town academy to study photography if they're from Paris or Rome? Why don't they just stay in Paris and Rome and go and do better art? And go to. Why would someone from Paris or Rome be in a small town in Oregon? Anyway, I can do anything unless I get busted. Get busted for what? For burning your clothes? And there will be so many super cool chances for my photography to get exposed. To get what exposed? Exposed where? In a small town in Oregon? What exposure do you get from a small town in Oregon? Thinking about that is when I get scared, but excited. And then I don't feel like crying at all. I get tingles down my arms, sensing the universe opening up for me. I can't wait to leave. I just want things to be different at Blackwell. This is the... I don't... I feel like this... I feel like this grown-ass man criticizing a little girl's life. In fact, I am. I am a grown-ass man criticizing a little girl's life. But honestly, if any of you burn your clothes and then buy up all the stuff in the thrift store, I'm gonna punch you in the face.